Hello, and welcome to Life of a Boss, the podcast, hosted by entrepreneur, public speaker, and mentor, Jason Hardin. This podcast is all about helping audiences create and reach their own definition of success through positive thinking, perseverance, and personal development. Having survived extreme obstacles from an early age, such as cancer, poverty, abuse, family dysfunction, and even homelessness, Jason has learned how to master the art of resilience and defy all odds to become the boss he is today. So, get ready for some serious game and remember to keep an open mind. Now, without further delay, here is your host, Jason Hardin.
What's up, world? And welcome to another wonderful episode of Life of a Boss, the podcast. I am your host, Jason Hardin, and I'm extremely grateful to be here. And we have a wonderful show today, a very special show. And I want to start by saying the whole show is all about success, creating and living your own definition of success, and being the boss in your life. And that is not separate from being a part of this community. You know, so who's ever representing your neighborhood, your city, your district, it's important. See, I'm not afraid to take a stance in you know, politically and in social issues, because it's part of who we are, and we don't shy away from what we believe in. And let me start by saying that growing up, I heard something, and it was never true. In my culture and in my family, they always said, and you probably heard it too, that it's disrespectful or it's not good to speak about religion and politics. And I heard that growing up a lot, so it wasn't something that I grew up talking about with other people until I started being around successful people. And then I realized that money and what people believe in is all successful people talk about. It's the only thing that's important. Successful people do not talk about sports. I swear, the people that you're watching on your commentaries and your sports shows, as soon as that camera go off, they're talking business, they're talking money, they're talking deals, they're talking everything else but sports. So this is that. You know, I don't separate my politics, my belief from my ability to be successful, and I don't want you to either, and I don't want you to think that politics is an option if you're trying to be successful in business. So that being said, our next guest is a multi-businessman and business owner, entrepreneur, a host of his own show, former commissioner for the City of Pasadena, and 2024 mayoral candidate, Allen Shay. Allen Shay, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I just want to first of all thank you for allowing me to come to your platform and embrace what your fans and your audience can do in supporting, you know, the cause. And certainly, you know, what you've done for the community, Jason, has been raising the bar a little bit, you know, so it's definitely there, and I'm honored to be here tonight. And certainly with this platform shared by, you know, yourself, who's gone through this journey a couple of times, so you know what the struggle is. So I'm really honored to be here tonight.
Well, thank you.
I'm hoping that we can get in to some engaging conversation. I hope your viewers can appreciate this platform tonight is not merely just something to share during an election process, but it's also something that's encompassing of men of color who go through this oppression, who goes through the corruption and things that have held us back. And certainly we begin to test that when we step out and challenge the system.
Absolutely. And we're all about resilience and overcoming challenges, and we're going to face them even if we do nothing, you know, and I think if we do nothing, we face more, like never standing up to bullies and never standing up against systems and if you get an order wrong and you and you don't complain about it, they just keep getting everybody's order wrong.
They're gonna keep getting it wrong, and we're gonna have to just accept what we get.
What we get, and it happens a lot in our local representatives. I'm a big fan of local politics. On a national level, I don't think I try to be aware, but it doesn't affect us like local politics affect us. Whatever we vote for locally is going to happen in the middle of the year, at the end of the year. Things happen now as fast as they can happen in politics. Right. It's still a slow process, but everything starts locally. Everything starts with your district and your city. So that's important to me. So that being said, I want to thank you and appreciate you for stepping out there, because like you just mentioned, it is a challenge. It is leaving yourself open and putting a target on your back, and depending on who you're running against, it can be it can be hell for some folks, and people think that so many folks are qualified for this, but I think mentally and physically they might be, but to go through this, it filters out the weak. I mean, you have to be able to stand on something, and you have to be able to take the blows, and not everybody's willing to do that. So I appreciate you on your second run out here, fellow second to mayoral candidate.
Second mayoral run, but it's actually my fourth for public office. I did two for city council, and now this is my second for mayor. And what I would like to share with your viewers, Jason, so that they can really embrace what you and I are doing and what we're sharing with the community, because we're also creating history. And one of the things that I've always committed myself to as a Pasadenian from childhood was, what is my role to the community? And this was instilled in me because I'm the 8th of 13 siblings, 7 brothers and 6 sisters.
Wow, that's an old school family right there.
So we've been
10
around.
And up. My grandparents, they had 10 and up.
Yeah. So we have spread it throughout the city, and growing up in a village environment with a very profound mother who was very meticulous in her approach to understanding life. She was very pious in her faith, and she was phenomenal in her business practice. We owned the Little Red Hen for 50 years here in Altadena, the oldest black-owned business in Altadena. And that really
That's a great place, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Shrimp and grits.
Shrimp
Where
and
else
grits.
are you going to get shrimp and grits in this neighborhood? Seriously.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the favorites up there. But we also had a lot of good foods throughout the year. They kind of shifted a little bit with my mom started it, and she had a wide array of food, and then my brother kind of trimmed it down a little bit more to what his style and his his desires were for customers. And now my sister, who's running it now, so it's the third family member that's operating the business. She kind of favors the grits and shrimp and more kind of healthier food, she calls it. But it's been a great transition, seeing the business evolve. And speaking of evolving, that's one of the reasons why I'm running today.
Okay.
One of the things that I've done, and it really puts me in a mindset, because it goes back to when I was little. When I was a kid growing up, we literally lived across the street from Jackie Robinson's sister. So whenever he would come to Pasadena, he would stay with her.
Wow.
And we would go over there and just hang out with him and, talk to him. And it was nothing. It wasn't like, oh, he's a movie star, he's famous. It was just somebody in the neighborhood that we can go out. And back in the day when I was growing up on Wooster, my address is 950 Wooster, which ironically, the Turnicks bought our house from our family.
Former mayor.
Former mayor. So they're his family.
It's a small community, but
so
worldwide and so influential. And
right.
I think that's what's so important about office here,
right.
as opposed to any other city, is that we are still a small community, but we have a worldwide impact.
We have a worldwide impact.
Meaning there's worldwide money.
Right.
Here in Pasadena.
And we're going to get to that.
Oh,
I
man.
think that's going to make it a good topic, a good discussion.
I think we could have a series on politics in Pasadena, but I think what we really are trying to convey in this episode is the value of being involved in your community. The value of understanding how we directly affect what's happening in our community, where our dollars are going, where our knowledge are going, where our energy, where our attention is. We have more power than we think. Our votes are worth more than you think. People are spending for your vote. Literally, I counted. I think Tornek, before Victor won the last election, Tornek spent $22 a vote. All the people that voted for him could have got $22 cash money to vote for him. And I had to put it in math like that because it made me understand, like, damn, people are literally paying for votes. It happened. Right. Because, first of all, how is anybody going to get to know you if they don't already know you or see you doing the work?
Right.
So I think that's what people have an edge like Mr. Shay here, because you've been out there doing the work. You've been out there visible, and you're not always running for office. You're out there. You're not always kissing babies and shaking hands because you're trying to get on the ballot and you're trying to win something. But
you're right.
You do
you're
that
right.
just because,
I do it just
I
because.
do appreciate that.
And I'm glad you brought it up, because I think that would be a good introduction to consistency.
Yeah.
Basically, what happened in 2020, I was the chair of the Northwest Commission.
Yes.
And I was changing leadership and bringing in a new chair, and I was, transitioning out of chair, but I was still a commissioner.
Yes.
And at that time, we had the fourth murder of an African American in the Northwest area since I came on board.
Certainly believe that.
And so in looking at the issues that were being confronted by trying to hold accountability, and I think it should be objective and across the board. Yeah. So, but I think it should play both ways. It really put me on a focus to reach some level of finality about our community. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so the first one, when the first incident happened, we didn't have any body cams or dash cams. Mm-hmm. And so we pushed to get the dash cams on officers' cars.
Yeah. When
the next one happened, we had dash cams, but the dash cams didn't get a good shot of what happened. And it was at the time a 19-year-old kid who came home from college. And
Kendrick McDade,
correct.
Yeah.
So he was the second one. Then the third one was Thomas, on Orange Grove. Mm-hmm. And he called the police for help, and he came in and he was tasered to death, and they didn't record it on that body. They didn't have a body cam. Mm-hmm. So it was their story against the world. So, we pushed to get it.
Yeah.
And then we got the body cam, and then there was a incident. Wasn't a murder, but it was an incident with Chris Ballou.
Yes.
And with Chris Ballou, which had cameras and everything, the officer still was not held accountable. But for Chris Ballou's incident being in Altadena, and he was an Altadena resident, my role as a city commissioner could not be asserted with the charge that I had as a commissioner to serve a resident of my district. So, I kind of studied it and I kind of analyzed, and I said, we really, really have to be able to try and figure out how to perfect our technology to really have real value.
Yeah.
Okay, because we have the technology, but it didn't have value for Chris Ballou.
Absolutely.
So I get a call in August 15th actually, because he was murdered August 14th, I believe. And the next day after his murder, he's murdered on a Saturday, so I believe it was the 15th. And then the next day, I got a call next morning, and I was meeting with the new chair of the Northwest at the police station. And while at the police station, I meet the family, the McLean family, and his grandmother and his cousin, and it was just horrible. And I introduced myself, and I told them, that I would look into it and that I would take whatever appropriate action as a commissioner to try and bring some clarity to what it was, because at the time, we didn't know. Mm-hmm. But I encouraged them, we had to wait until the video was released. And so about a week later, the video was released. John Perez, he was the chief. He called a news conference. I didn't go. I didn't go because I did not want to be influenced by rhetoric that would come from their department.
Of course, their narrative.
Right.
Let me cut you off. You're a successful businessman. You have a lot of interest and you do a lot of things, and politics is very extracurricular, and that's why I want to get back to your involvement. What makes you decide to put events and projects and time with other things and other loved ones and on hold to play a very necessary but very dirty game of being this involved in politics? Like you said, they have their narratives, they have their money, they have people that have been handpicked for eons running the city in different places, and to go out there and voice for your community and business owners and the people who lived here for a long time.
Right.
What makes you want to get involved when you can very easily not?
Sure. And what makes me get involved is that, again, growing up in a large family, and always seeing the inequalities that existed in my family, especially when we moved to Pasadena, because we were from Jackson, Mississippi. And because we were from Jackson, Mississippi, and it was during Jim Crow, that we were faced with a lot of discrimination just because of our language. I mean, I didn't speak the way that I speak now when we moved here, trust me.
Yeah.
But so I saw a lot. I had older siblings who actually marched in Mississippi, okay, especially after the murder of Medgar Evers. So I grew up in an environment where I was orientated to that understanding, and the challenge that I had was always, how do you elevate yourself in your community to rise above it so you can engage others and create a better pathway for others? And because I had so many siblings who were younger than me, I had hope for a better life for them, as well as my nieces and nephews. So basically, just having those kinds of upbringing instilled in me what's going to be my platform as I evolve as an individual.
Yeah.
And it started from when I was about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And at 5 or 6, believe it or not, I wanted to be a political scientist.
You was already
I was already there.
But you were already on the mindset of platform.
Yeah.
Meaning you saw yourself doing something, standing on something.
It was,
and I like that. So it was, that drive was always instilled in you.
Already, yes.
On top of, I guess, business, because that's different than business. Because a lot of people can just I'm gonna be successful in business, keep my head down. Right. I'm doing plumbing, all right? But some people you know what, I'm a plumber now, but that's just a business. I want to change the world too. I want to change my community. I want to, so it's always been in you to want to be a voice.
Well, it's always been in me, and I've always been consistent with it. That's why I would love the opportunity to debate Mr. Victor Gordo.
Yes.
And for anyone to question my consistency or try and identify some inconsistency, because that's going to be a hard battle unless it lies.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
only incident I've ever had in my life was a false arrest.
Yeah, yeah.
And with that, I prevailed, and I was running for mayor.
Yeah.
If you remember,
Yeah.
you and I were both running
That's
for
when
mayor.
things happen.
Right. That's when things happen. So I was literally running for mayor 10 years ago, and got arrested for a false arrest because a white officer, yes, and I will say it, he wanted to frame me to tie me into the countrywide crash of the real estate market.
Wow.
That was his objective. And I was
Wow.
the only one ever arrested for anything tied to criminal.
So it was an agenda.
Oh
behind
yeah, it was an agenda.
yeah.
And so, when he came to me with that challenge, I just told him, you know what? My law experience says there's nothing here unless you want to make something.
Yeah.
But if you want to make something, you better be ready for the consequences.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't done anything wrong, and everything that he made some reference to was in the boundaries of my business. I also do finance. I was doing bridge loans for investors and stuff, short-term bridge
So he was
loans.
mentioning legal
And-
stuff you did.
Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I said, as a lawyer, you can't throw stuff over my head. That's just not going to work.
Yeah.
And I said, and I'm a real estate broker, so, none of the stuff I did was out of line.
Mm-hmm.
So I just told him, I said, dude, it's not making sense other than a racist. And if you're going to be a racist, you're just going to have to arrest me, and we're going to go from there. And he only came, and I only had one encounter
Yeah.
with him. One. He just
That's all it takes. And you know what? First of all, I want to appreciate that you're still here
Yeah.
because sadly, like the brothers that you mentioned, one encounter can be all it takes.
yes.
For certain people in certain neighborhoods. And I'm not going to bullshit you. One reason why I get into politics and why I became involved, because I think once you start to matter, once people start to recognize you and what you do, it's kind of hard to sweep you under the rug, and police think twice about how they treat you, and even you, Mr. Shay, people might not like you, and there's probably a whole department of folks, or maybe a couple of departments in our city that probably just don't like you, for the business you've done, the business in the city, the success you've become, maybe your family, maybe your view in politics and the sides you take, for whatever reason, but you're here,
Right. And if I may chime in on that, one of the things that really empowers me about not allowing that to affect my quality of life
Yeah.
is because I know that whatever I do with the right intent.
That's what I'm talking
so
about.
I don't go out and I don't lie on people. I don't cheat people. There may be some misunderstanding. There may even be accidents, but everything that I do is really to advance people and to make their quality of life better.
Yeah.
Especially the young people. And the reason why I do that is because I love Pasadena and the quality of life that has been bestowed upon me as a result of being a person who grew up here in Pasadena and paid attention. And I have paid attention from day one of being a Pasadenian and carried that through consistently. And I've leveraged against all the opportunities that were presented from elementary school through junior high school. In junior high school, I played football, nose guard.
Question.
Yes.
You're talking about your upbringing in Pasadena and basically your intention, and what your intention has been for a long time, to uplift and
Right.
get involved and have a voice and basically because you love the city and I find that very easy to believe because I can relate to all of that, and the flip side is, this is the question: what do you do when you're running against people who are the opposite? It's not about integrity. They're not willing to they're not unwilling to lie and throw mud and spread false narratives and whether you're guilty or not, plaster your mugshot everywhere with a meme on it and pay for these memes.
But here's what I would share with you, Jason, so you can kind of see. And I think this run for mayor is going to be a good example of that as we move forward through the
absolutely.
process. And that is, when I declared my candidacy, I stood in front of the city council and I told Victor, I love my brother Victor, but I have come before you for 4 years, Victor, and I have shared with you that you need to make sure you're carrying out the charge of mayor for all the citizens, and that you uphold the commitments you've made for people to believe in you and get and support you and pass their vote to you. And if you didn't do it, that you were going to have to deal with it at election time. And I said, and as a result of that,
it's election time.
It's election time, and I will be running against you.
You know what?
And I said that in front of everybody. I said that with clear conviction and intentions.
It's on demand. You can check that out. Seriously.
No, it is.
Every city council meeting is on demand. All of you need to watch it. If you guys can binge watch Real Housewives and binge watch Empire and Power. Binge watch a city council meeting. Binge watch the meetings, period. Go back, I don't care how many years, and you will start to see the characters of these individuals. You will start to see the intent. You will start to see agendas. You will start to know these people, and it'll be important because these people live, at least some say they live in your neighborhood. And if not, they still represent you. Right. And on the flip side, the people speaking are people like Allen, who are always at city council members. You'll see the people who are dedicated in the community who actually use it as a platform to speak against the city itself. So a couple things. I want to appreciate you for one, holding him accountable. Because you know what? The only reason why, like I said, I can give this man his respect because, okay, first of all, I respected him as a person when he supported Victor in his initial run. But what made me respect him even more when I saw that he was running is that he learned something, and what he learned is that. Even giving him a fresh start, even not holding his lack of care or compassion for our community for his decade and as a Northwest representative, even if he didn't do that, he held him accountable from day one of being a mayor.
Yeah.
Every day, and to get the response that he gave for the last 10 years in that last 4 as being mayor just shows that. First of all, you did pay attention. Second of all, you did hold him accountable. You supported him, you elected him, and you held him accountable, and you got a result. So who better to support than somebody who did the work and research and gave him a fresh start?
And here's what I like to share with your viewers so they can really understand the significance of this opportunity in this moment in our community and in history. I am not just somebody who's running for office for the sake of running for office. I am somebody who's been groomed to serve. And I've served my entire life for others. I have done that unconditionally. When Anthony McLean was murdered, and as I was about to say, I met his family, I made a commitment to bring clarity and justice as a result of his murder, which was determined by 5 cameras. I reviewed 5 cameras, and not one camera corroborated with the police's story. Not one. He didn't have a gun. He didn't look to shoot him. None of the stuff.
He was running away.
And he was running away. And what was more corrupt was that The officers lifted the blood off of him and put it on the gun, on a tattered gun that they laid in front of the park during the summer when everybody's there, and said that's where he threw it, almost 30, 40 feet across the street after running about 60, 70 yards from the officer. Just stuff that didn't make sense. And I'm saying, you know what, you're putting this out to the public, and you really, really want people to respect our system, our police department, our city council, and our mayor. And the mayor at the time, we were able to get the McClain family to endorse him when he was running, because he said that I'm going to bring justice for Anthony McClain. And you can believe in me. And by the time we went through 4 years and went through all the different reports and everything, you know what it all boiled down to? He said I didn't have power.
Yeah. But but no, I appreciate that, because like I said, accountability is one thing, but what it is this is, it's not an option. And the question is, and I guess for some, and that's why I want to ask, like for me, it's not an option. And for you, I want to get your take on, how do you, or do you separate being successful from being black? And I'm gonna ask you this because there's we pick and choose battles, and sometimes I look at money and I look at success and I look at all the things I can do. If I didn't care about politics, I didn't care about right and wrong, I didn't care about people getting mistreated and misrepresented. There's a lot of things I could be doing. Like you got a lot of different hats you wear. There's a lot of things you could be doing, and my thing is, like, why should people care? For those that are out there living their best life, thinking, oh, I'm just out here to get money, why should they care and they pay attention to their representatives and the issues that are happening in their neighborhood, social and whatnot?
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm a firm believer that I can't separate my blackness from wealth. And the reason I can't separate that is because I can't walk in a room, even if I was a billionaire. If I was black, I'm still a black man. So it's you can't separate the two. But what I can separate, and what I do separate, and I've done it all my life, is the will and the blessings that God has given me every day to wake up and to move forward with a plan of action to carry forth a journey each day. And the journey each day is encompassing for others. Every day I do something, it's to carry out something for someone else. And it's 99% of the time it's unconditional. I mean, I just do it. Sometimes I don't even get paid. A lot of times I don't get paid.
Yeah.
But I do it because it's the right thing to do, and it helps to develop and keep my consistency. And these are the things that I bring into my experience as a mayor candidate and being able to serve. And that's because the charter, which was enacted in 1998 and then voted on, and Bogart was elected as a result of it, who stayed in office 16 years. When I realized these things were created, but those terms and conditions of the charter and what the mayor's real need and objective wasn't carried out. But the residents don't know that because they don't break it down. Yeah. And every mayor that we've had elected are from the old guard. They're from the old establishment. And they carry forth their special interests and the individuals that got them there, the individuals that's funding their campaigns. All these things you and I both know.
Absolutely.
We are in this game because we're here to serve. We're not here about the money. We're here to serve. Yeah. And I've always been here to serve. That's why I went to college and became a political scientist. Yeah. I started my own consulting firm right out of college. 22, 23 years old, right out of college. Did that, and I'm still doing it. And then I went to law school. Finished law school, got into seeing what to apply, the directions. Recession hits. I look at everybody, all the black families losing their homes. So I go get my broker's license, and I work on how to create loan modifications, models, to save people homes. And I started saving people homes because that was their biggest asset. All these things I kept doing little at a time and crunching. And then, I saw how we were losing our history.
Yeah.
So I got into media.
Yeah.
And I've been in media 10 years with over 300 episodes of shows.
You are, first of all, you're great at controlling your narrative, and controlling not just your narrative, but the narrative of the people you represent when you represent. Because like you said, you're a voice. You've always wanted to have a platform, and I think that's important because in all of your businesses, I'm pretty sure having a platform kind of aided in some way, and even in your service. And I think that's the next question I want to ask. And how has being of service served you? And I really want to ask that because a lot of people, I think they don't give or they don't care because they have this "what's in it for me" mentality. And me, I've always been the type of person that I don't care what somebody's agenda is, just do good, So for you, but also I can tell you great stories about what has happened, not through an exchange from giving, that just happened. So what for you has been the rewards of being of service and giving and putting yourself out there? What are the benefits?
Well, I think the benefits of being of service is because you've cultivated somebody's life in one form or another. You've either taken them out of the frustration or the anger or the misery, and you've shown them some love, and you've shown them a better mindset to receive the blessings that could come their way because they have a clear mind. I make it a point, and you've known me for a few years, I don't think you've ever seen me angry. I don't think you ever seen me snapping or doing anything that's offbeat. I mean, I've always been engaging and pretty straightforward.
Even you,
But those were developing.
Consistent. That's the word of the day.
No, and it is.
Consistent.
I that's part of my principles of life is consistent, and the reason for that consistency is because growing up here in Pasadena, growing up with we do have haters in our community.
Absolutely.
And we have people who are going to challenge you. The one thing I learned, and that's why I was going back to my nose guard role in football, and this is why I started out there, is that my neighbor, when I was 11 years old, knocked me on my ass on his lawn when we were playing football. And I looked up to God and I said, God, how could I get knocked on my behind by, my neighbor?
Yeah.
You know what he said to me, Jason?
What?
He said, Allen, you have to learn how to execute. You cannot stand straight up and extend your body. You must stay low, and you must have a upper shoot when you are. And I was coming off the line because we were playing, free for all kind of football. And I learned that configuration of executing. I didn't have any formal training or nothing. And within 2 weeks, I get cut from Pop Warner, go out for flag at Loma Alta, and the coach says, wow, I've been watching you, and I got the perfect positions for you. He said positions. And I said, okay. And I didn't really know the positions or whatever. He put me at guard on offense. and nose guard on defense, and I was tiny.
Yeah.
And I played those positions throughout my career, all the way to my senior year at John Muir High School, 135 pounds. Played in the turkey tussle with 30,000 people at 1 o'clock on a Saturday. Televised on High School Prep Game of the Week with Brian Gumble. And my play contributed to getting our defense to score the winning touchdown that we went on to win for the first time in 10 years. Do you think that from that experience, and I was going to quit playing football because I thought I was too little. From that experience alone, my life was set.
Yeah.
And as long as I did not give up in life, no matter what people thought of me and no matter what, I'll find a way to be consistent and to bring other people in who believe in me. And even as I campaign today against Victor Gordo, people, oh, Allen, why are you doing that? Why are you wasting your time? What you going to do? How you? Now I say to them, God has prepared me for this. I don't have to worry about, what it looks like. I just have to be in the game.
Yeah.
And once I get in the game and I can perform,
that's all it takes.
That's it.
Just being out there. Well, them is some wise words, brother. That was a hell of a story. You know what? I played the tussle. I was on the other team though, and so the feeling is like I relived it in your story, but it wasn't that great. I fantasized about high school moments in the tussle after my tussle debut, and finale. But that's what I wanted to say. You represent this community. You've been here, and it shows in what you do. It shows in what you say. It shows in where you go. And I can honestly say that I support you. And in your endeavors of representing this community because I'm from here too.
Right.
And I can say that you have similar interests. You have things that you want to see happen. Like I want to see some things happen there, and they're aligned. And that's why this whole show is about getting involved, because where can you directly impact the things you care about the most? Right. So having you on the show is great for so many reasons, because not just the lessons. You drop so many gems and so many jewels, that old school wisdom, that family to Munster, Mississippi wisdom, and that's why it's like, once he said that, it was a no-brainer. Why it's just in him to be out there against all odds, and even though he can do anything else, he's still involved and still want a platform and still a voice and still holding people accountable. And I think yeah, your mother was a good woman. I don't know your father,
right,
but I appreciate what you brought to this community, and I appreciate what your family has brought to the community, and I appreciate what you bring to this election.
Well, if I can inject, because I really want to say I really appreciate you and the unity that you bring, because to be honest with you, you're the first one who has opened up unconditionally and said, Allen, whatever you need, whatever I can do, whatever we need to share with the community from a true platform of objectivity and really for people to understand, because, Victor appears to be this giant that controls everything. But what people fail to realize is Victor has his issues. And I'm going to say it to you, Victor. You got your issues. And one of those issues, is certainly what you did to the tournament. I think that was totally ridiculous. And a lot of people, once they find out and understand it, they think it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Because
the tournament is what has made Pasadena what it is today, because they invest 365 days a year. They've already started for
absolutely
Tournament of Roses 2020-25. They've already started. It's nonstop. spending money, preparing, all these things that will bring the light to Pasadena, bring the jobs to Pasadena, bring the people to Pasadena, and more than anything, bring the money to Pasadena. We probably broke the record from the last prior years, which was over $300 million that was generated and over 30,000 jobs created to bring forth all the things that happened here during the 3-day festival, I'm going to call it, that the tournament really put together.
Yeah.
And no one on this planet, no one, Mr. Gordo, no one, and this is a message to you, Mr. Gordo, demand, carry, and execute a full day of television media coverage, except for Pasadena, through the Tournament of Roses. And you have the audacity to challenge somebody who's doing that on their own money. If that is not an insult, I don't know what else to say. And for anyone who doesn't see it and feel that way, because I know some people have told me, Jason, they said, well, Allen, you probably need to stay away from that. We want to know about the issues. What's the issues? You know, one thing I did today and yesterday, Jason, that's going to blow your mind? What? I pulled up all of my videos from 2014. And my video issues from 2014 are exactly the same issues of 2024. Homelessness, business stability, affordability of homes or places to rent, and being able to serve the residents with what they bring before our city. Those are the very same issues that I brought before, and no one listened to me, and they've gotten worse.
Well, you know, coming from this community and still being here, I thank you. I'm glad you're here. Like I said, you could be anywhere.
Yes.
You could be doing anything. You could be kissing babies somewhere, or sitting somewhere, being wined and dined and groomed for what somebody else wants you to be. But I appreciate that you think your own thoughts. You go out there on your own merit, and nobody controls you. And that's why you're here. You know, you're the boss of you. And I trust somebody who has their own agenda more so than I trust somebody being controlled by somebody else with their agenda, you know, because those are cowards, you know, because everybody's scared to take full responsibility and accountability for what's going on. And I just want to touch on everything he said. He's being nice. See, Allen Shay is being nice about the issues he's raising with our current mayor.
Okay.
And this can turn into Club Shay with Allen Shay number 2. But we're not going to go there. See, I was being very respectful because in the end, I'm glad that you came to your own realizations. You did your own work and research and study. And basically you put in the time and effort it takes to hold somebody accountable, and that's a requirement from all of us. You know, first of all, let us all hold ourselves accountable.
Absolutely.
And then start trying to see where we can better our community by being our best selves. And that being said, any last words, Allen? And please end it with your contact information, website, and all that. But any last words for our viewers in regards to getting into politics, in regards to being involved, in regards to fighting the intimidation that comes from running against people with millions and people that have been sitting on these thrones forever and going up there with $300 saying, I'm out here too, and I represent more of this city than you. So what do you got to say to all of them?
Here's what I would like to say to all you viewers out there. Coming from somebody who really have been paying the dues, and I have both education-wise, career-wise, politics-wise, and that is that we as a community, whether black or white, Asian, Hispanic, we need to bring leaders into office who's going to serve. If we cannot understand that, we need to educate ourselves to that. And I would really appreciate those viewers who are watching this show to dig deep and really vet Victor Gordo. Do not just vote for him for population or popularity. Vote for him because you vetted him thoroughly. And I assure you, if you use those standards, you're going to look at character. You're going to look at his record. And more than anything, what you're going to look at is how has he really been of service to this community. And one of the things I'll leave you with, again, that makes me a candidate that has the qualification is 4 terms as a city commissioner for the Northwest and bringing all the changes that I brought in that 12 years without missing a meeting. Right, serving the residents, making sure their voices are heard, making sure actions are taken, making sure I go into the city hall and advise the city council on what needs to be done to respond to the needs of the residents. All those specific areas of services were developed, created, and made into a consistent method of governance, so that when I step before the city council every Monday, I don't have to hold back, because mine is coming from actual execution. And if I shared with you earlier, that was one of the lessons that I learned as a child, got knocked on his behind, is that I have to know how to execute, carry out, and get results for the team.
There you have it, folks. Allen Shay, 2024 mayoral candidate, multi-business owner, brother of the community, and just an all-around positive person. And I thank you for being on the show. Like I said, you could be anywhere else doing anything else, but I do appreciate you coming on here and just being honest, being open, and that's all it is, because you don't have to rehearse this shit when you know your shit. You know what you're talking about, you know who you are, you know what you represent. You don't need your field rep texting you answers, and you don't need, you know what I'm saying? You don't need nobody to build you up.
And I've never used a script on any of my shows. I have 2 shows running now. One is in its 5th season, and the other is in its 10th, and they're not scripted. Everything goes by just, a very holistic, authentic approach to, dealing with life. And if you do that, you don't.
You know your stuff. Yeah. I didn't realize how much we had in common until now. Because if you notice, every time I ran for office, I never carried nothing on stage. I never had no paperwork, no nothing. Because if I don't know this shit, I shouldn't be up here. Right. If I can't answer these questions. And that's another reason why I appreciate you, bro. You're authentic, you're real, and you're here, and you're visible, and you do your thing, man. So thank you again for coming on. I hope you'll be back on once you make mayor. You know what I'm saying? Don't shun us once you're sitting on the throne, my brother.
What I'm really proud of is, and I shared this with Jason when he offered his platform, and that is, it opened a new door of unity. It opened a new door of business. And this is something I do for a living, is developing business strategies. And one of my objectives with my administration is actually to create a small business department at the City of Pasadena, so we can focus in on how to keep businesses in the city, have a sustainable model in play, utilize technology and funding sources and all these different things to create businesses and keep them there, especially when we go through the volatilities of cyclical economic times. We've had COVID, we've had multiple recessions since I've been in business, and all these things are presented in a manner that we could actually be proactive instead of reactive, because we didn't plan. Well, I've seen so many, I'm saying, let's convert it to no different than what we've seen done with apps. We can actually do that with businesses and sustain, make them sustainable. Real estate the same way. Homelessness the same way.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have the leaders that's going to look for those type of development, you're going to get the same thing. And that's what has been happening, which is validated for 10 years if you go back and look at my videos. So.
Absolutely. Anyway, we're going to end it at that, man. Thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
No, thank you.
And you know, I may have to come back to this this gentleman's house here as we get into the campaign process, because, you know, I'm still looking for a good debate from Mr. Victor Gordo, and just to see how he's going to present himself, if we're going to be man to man and candidate to candidate and cut all the Google God. Be real with the people. That's what it's about. We want to be real. I want to be real with you, and I want Victor to be real with you, so you can vet us out to see who really should be the mayor of Pasadena.
Absolutely. That's a message of the day, folks, man. Do the work. Get involved. Stay holding those that represent you accountable, and work with these folks. You know what I'm saying? This is a big example of how you make things happen in business and whatever your goals and objectives are in life. Like I said, even if you're greedy and selfish, there's rewards in giving back. So whatever your agenda is, whatever you're trying to do in life, give back. Serve, do the right thing, and things will happen for you. I appreciate Mr. Shay being here. Once again, before you go, website and how to get in contact with you on social media.
You can follow me on Instagram at Allen Shay, ALLENSHAY 81. You can go to my website at Allen Shay for mayor.com. You can go to my my YouTube channel, Allen Shay channel. You can go to my Facebook, which is Allen Shay, or you can go to my Allen Shay for Mayor Facebook page. You can go on my X file. You will see that there's
X is Twitter, for y'all that don't know.
That's right.
Yeah.
And,
he's with it. The brother is with it, man.
You know, well, I do it every night. I update my content every night, and I make sure that I'm putting information that's substantive about our community, that involves our youth, our visitors, our senior citizens, and how we as people get together as a community and be one.
I love it, man. Like, share, comment, check him out. Check out the website. Vote. If you're in the area, please vote. Get somebody else to vote. Drive people to the voting polls as soon as you can. And just stay involved. And even if you're not from Pasadena, get involved in your city. Vote and all that other good stuff. And get to know these people who say they care about you. And stay involved. All right? And until next time, remember that success is indeed a lifestyle. Peace.
Did anything stand out to you in today's show? If so, let us know. Your questions, comments, and concerns are important to Jason, as he is determined to always deliver to you only the most impactful information and content. Until next time, please subscribe, like, comment, share, and leave a review whenever possible. You may visit lifeofaboss.net for more episodes and great resources to help you become the absolute boss that you were meant to be. You can also follow Jason on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Hardin. Thank you. And never forget that success is a lifestyle.